What's good, YouTube? I hope you guys have all had a fantastic week so far. I've had a good week, and today's video, it's going to be a very important lesson that I took in trading this week. So I'm going to explain that to you guys. But first off, I want to say thank you. We hit 100 subs on the channel. It can only be God. Praise be to Him. And I ask that He continues to keep blessing it. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the channel so far. Just please continue to show love, and the videos, I'm going to keep pumping them out and bringing value. But before we get in today's video, like always, we got to spend time with God first. So today we are going to be in Matthew chapter 18, and we're going to be going over verses 1 through 5. And it's titled, Who is the Greatest, right? At that time, the disciples came to Jesus saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest of the kingdom of heaven. Alrighty. And like always, I've got my interpretation of this. And that is, Jesus says we must become like children because of how they think. When you explain something to a child, oftentimes they are very gullible. They will believe everything you tell them, and us as believers know that the Bible is truth. Jesus calls us to believe and obey the laws and commands in this book the same way a child will believe and obey the laws a parent puts on a child. Also, it is important to note that not one time throughout the Bible are we addressed as adults. God has always addressed us as His children, backing the belief that those who believe in Christ Jesus become sons and daughters of the Father. All right, Bible study is now complete. Now, let's get into the video for today. Alrighty, let's get into the video for today. But first, let's talk a little bit about our weekly analysis from Sunday. Yeah, from Sunday. The trade I ended up taking this week actually was not from my weekly analysis. It was actually USD Chef from last week. Bro, I'll show you. Let's just lock in. Let me show you. So if we're looking at USD Chef, yeah, and you see that last week we broke above, retested on the daily, then we took a trade, down in here, right here. We waited for the break of our consolidation box here. We entered and we rode up to here, right? Where we entered once and then we entered again on this leg, and then we got out of the market for our 2.5% last week that we made. And sure enough, USD Chef, again, for one, we were still bullish on both time frames, the daily and the weekly. As you can see, this was our last low. We created this high, so we were bullish on the daily. And let me delete this. And then on the weekly, same exact thing. Obviously, you can see that our last, this was our, we were in a bearish trend, yeah. This was our last high, and this was our low. Then we switch, this becomes our low, our high, and then our high is broken, going to the upside by this big blue candlestick right here. So now this becomes our high, and this becomes our low. Obviously, this was how it looked before this week started, and now we've pushed like so. Now, as you know by the title of this video, I made a big mistake. And it's a lesson that I needed to learn. I think God needed me to learn it now. And I'm happy it's happening now and not, when I'm making a lot of money from trading. So let me walk you through this. So obviously, let's take a look at what we saw when we came into the week. So before we came into the week, right, we had our big push and then we came back down and we started retesting here. So this is Thursday of last week. So we came to the markets right here. Okay, yeah, that's Friday. So let's put this in bar replay, right? So we came to the market opened, and it looked like this, right? This is exactly what it looks like. So what we see first off, before we even get anywhere started, the very first thing that we notice, let's just delete all of this. I'll keep that stuff because that stuff's important. But the first thing that we notice is price on the 4-hour is bearish, and then price starts to consolidate on the 4-hour. So what does this tell us? That price is struggling to break the low there. And it's also telling us that it's struggling to break this high here. So for me to be able to take a buy on this, I want price to break, retest, and then continue to the upside, right? Because then this would be confirming that we're going to be going in this direction. That's what I wanted. So that's exactly what I did. Exactly what I waited for. So opening candlestick on Sunday. No, that's Friday still. Sunday was this. This is exactly what the 4 hour happened. So we broke and closed above my zone. So from here I dropped down to the 30-minute time frame, where I was just sitting here waiting for a bullish engulfing and or consolidation to happen. So I'm still waiting for price to retest. Oh wait, no, it actually, sorry, it retested right here. I'm tripping. My bad. Back up. So price broke above and closed on the 4 hour, retesting our zone. So now all I'm doing is waiting for a possible consolidation box, which I got here. Box. That was my consolidation box, and I was waiting for price to break outside of this, but with an engulfing candlestick. And I'm just still waiting, and boom. So I entered off in the middle of this candlestick, honestly. I entered in the middle of it, I'm not even gonna lie. I saw it absolutely just destroying to the upside, so I got in a little early, probably about 10 minutes before it actually closed. So was that a little risky? Yes, but we already broke outside my box, so I wasn't tripping too much about it, even if it did retrace. So then from here, I literally just set and forget the trade. And I wake up in the morning, because I actually took this trade at midnight. Yeah, it was midnight, right when I placed this trade. And we just absolutely ripped to the upside. And when I woke up, this is 8 in the morning, and this is how we looked. So right now, this first trade, we are up about 1.5% on this trade so far, which is beautiful. It's exactly what you want to see. And now I'm looking to possibly scale in, right? And there are 2 to 3 rules that need to happen for scaling in. First off, you need a pullback. You can't just enter without having a pullback. 2, you want to do exactly the same exact thing that you do when you're entering the market, right? You draw your consolidation box on where price is consolidating. When price breaks and then closes outside that with a form of momentum, like an engulfing candlestick, or it's just ripping up and just slowly closed. You get what I'm saying? That's how we enter, right? So I drop down to the 2 hour, and I either scale in on the 2 hour or the 4 hour. Why? Because if we look at the 4 hour, right? See how these candlesticks look? Look at the 2 hour. They look almost identical. So, but if we look at the 1 hour, it's a lot more candlesticks, and the 1 hour is possibly not as respected. It's not possibly. It is definitely not as respected as a 2 hour or the 4 hour. So I hop down to the 2 hour, right? And I'm looking for some pullback candlesticks. So I get one here. Nope, not yet. Sorry. Let's wait. That's my first pullback candlestick. So I'm like, all right, perfect. So let me start looking for possible entries on the 30-minute. What do I see? So my first consolidation box was actually something like this. I think this was some. I wanted these highs to get cleared out. That was my first consolidation box, and obviously as we keep letting price play, we see that we start coming down here. So now I'm like, all right, guess what happens? Consolidation box can now move, right, to the last high, which is this right here. And I was like, beautiful. And when I was getting ready to enter again, sure enough, it is around the same time as that's the night when I entered. It was around midnight. I was getting ready to enter. So we broke outside my consolidation box with some momentum. Now, here is the second rule for scaling in that I messed up. This is how this trade is going to cost me, I'd say 6 to 7% on my funded account. Okay, as like I could have possibly made a lot of money, upwards of 9%, right? So I was looking for price to retest this area because this is like also a respected area, no little support and resistance zone. We didn't make it all the way there, but when you're scaling in, right, we can see that this is beautiful. This is exactly what you want to enter like. This is exactly how we would normally enter. Say if we enter down here, your stops would go below the lows of your entry, and that was my problem. That was my mistake. When you're scaling in, you need to, first off, this position down here is not at break even yet. It's only at break even once you enter again. Or we reach 1%, which is what we did. So I moved my stop loss to break even. So my stop loss on this trade right here is right here, right on this black line. That's where my stop loss is. But when I entered my second trade, I moved this stop loss to here, and I placed my stop loss on this scale in below the lows, when in reality my stop loss should have been at the break even of my first entry. So now both of these are at break even like this. This gives your trade enough room. So you got to think about it like this, right? Every trade, we only want to risk anywhere between 1 to say 3% of a trade. It just depends on how risky you want to be. For funded accounts, definitely only risk 1 to 2%. Don't risk any more than that, because you only have a certain amount that you can lose. But personal accounts, you can risk whatever you want, because you're not subjugated to any rules. But when you scale in, right, you don't necessarily care about the risk to reward ratio. All you're doing is adding on top of the profits you're already going to receive, right? So with me scaling in like this, obviously I put my stop loss below the lows like this, like normal, and I go to bed and I wake up and see this from the 30-minute time frame. We just absolutely rip to the downside, and I get stopped out. So not only did I get stopped out on my scale in, I also got stopped out on the main trade. That was my unfortunate loss. So this week we are currently down. It was $40 after this trade, but I'll get into why I'm down a little bit more for the week so far. But yeah, so my break even, I should still be in this trade right now, but because I didn't understand the rules scaling in, it's costing me. It's going to cost me. So the next whole day, it is now Wednesday today. On Monday, this happened, and then we pulled back. Now this is Tuesday. All of Tuesday, we consolidated. I mean, it was just up and down, up and down, up and down. But then today, we finally broke through this consolidation. So I should still be in this trade as we speak, and currently this is what we're at right now. Price is absolutely ripping to the upside. This trade will fully go all the way to take profit, and I would have possibly been able to scale in again. So I could possibly scale in again off of this if we come to retest this area, but I'm in another trade right now, so we'll get into those in a second. But this was the blunder that we had this week. As you can see, currently right now on the scale in position, we are up 0.6% right now, roughly, give or take. And then our main entry, we are up 2.23%. So I'm up, since I'm risking 1%, I'm up about $300 right now as we speak. If I didn't mess up my scale in position. So with the full take profit of 400 and some odd dollars, or more like 500-ish, because my funded is a 12,500 account, so it's about $500 on this main scale in, with the secondary scale in being a 2.31. So that would have been $700 or $800, because this trade is fully going to TP. I mean, it is absolutely, without a doubt, it's going to make it to TP, if not tomorrow, by Thursday. I mean, by Friday. So yeah, it hurts a little bit, but it was a minimal loss, So now let's get into the trade that we're actually in right now. Right now we are in NZD USD. We got in on it. As you can see, we are in on it down here. We are $20 in profit right now. So let's do a little trade update, a trade rewind, I guess, from what we talked about on Sunday. As you can see, price is now bearish on the weekly time frame, with our low being here, our high being here. Our high is broken, right? So now this becomes our high, and this becomes our low. The low is broken, and now we are bearish on the weekly, right? On the daily time frame, clearly you can see we are bearish. We broke this low right here. So then this became our low, our high, and then this became our low. Our low is broken again, so this became our low, and then this became our high. I explained to you guys that I was possibly worried that price could retest and pull back to about in here. That didn't end up happening, obviously. So we had a beautiful retest on the daily time frame. So I dropped down to the 4 hour, and now price was started consolidating in this area. So I came down to the 1 hour, right? But because this wasn't my number one pair for the week, I wasn't overly excited about taking this trade. I was my number one pair was odd New Zealand. That didn't play out. As you can see, I would have lost if I took this trade. So but it took so long to play out. I mean, all of Monday, all it did was consolidate and come down in here. So I left it and moved it to the bottom of my list. So then USD Chef became my number one pair, and before I took my trade. So, but before, price came and retested, right? So then what do? We wait for a consolidation to start happening. We could see that consolidation on the 1 hour start to happen like this. And we should have entered on it right here. We should be massively in profit, right? But that's not what we ended up doing, because obviously we were in USD Chef. So when I officially came to the market, it literally looked like this. Let's take a step back, and it looks like this. It looked like this. So I drew my consolidation blocks off of the 4 hour time frame, not on the 1 hour, and I wanted price to clear this low like this, because at this rate I knew, like, if we broke these lows, we would continue to the downside. And another beautiful thing that I noticed about this pair is, if you look at it closely, what do you see? A beautiful left head, right shoulder that's being created over there. So let's redo that. Left head, right shoulder. Beautiful. So now what are we waiting on? The break and then the retest. So the break would be my consolidation box, then the retest of my consolidation box. So what ends up happening, we drop down to the 30-minute and let price run for a little bit. Let's speed this up because I think it takes a little longer. So yeah, look at that. And then we wick out of this like so. Now, you guys may be asking, okay, Babs, why didn't you enter off of this candlestick right here? I was at practice and I missed it because this was, yeah, at 5:30 when market reopened after Tuesday. I mean, on Tuesday, market opened after it closed. And yeah, so then I ended up entering off of this candlestick, or it's either this candlestick or this candlestick, one or the other. I ended up entering off of that, and that was my first entry. And I go to bed throughout, and we wake up to price doing this. So I was like, ooh, you know, I was kind of stressing a little bit, yeah. And I was like, I don't like this. The fact, let me back up. I went too fast. I was like, I don't like this, but I'm gonna ride it out. Why? Because now I noticed that we were doing what? Retesting our neckline to then continue to sell. And as soon as we get to our neckline, what do we see? We see this beautiful 30-minute engulfing candlestick. I entered a second position on that because it was too good to not enter on. I mean, I was willing to take the risk. So right now I'm in on NZD USD 1.5% right now in total on both the funded account and the personal account. So we will see how this plays out. This is just a little update. Obviously the trade hasn't fully played out yet, but you know, as price goes in their favor here, this is where we are currently at right now as we speak. Price is starting to consolidate down here, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but market did just reopen. So we shall just see how it plays out throughout the night. I'm really expecting this low to get taken out on the 4 hour. The daily time frame we've already broken past and closed below our low. So to me, that just seems like we're gonna fill this wick either tonight or tomorrow. And hopefully the news that comes out at 4 in the morning tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. doesn't obliterate us, and hopefully it pushes us down to the downside where market should be going, because all the higher time frames are pointing that we are bearish, except the monthly. I didn't check the monthly. Let's see what the monthly looks like. The monthly looks like we are bullish right now on the monthly, but you know, the monthly takes so long to play out that I'm banking on that it's just going to continue to head to the downside. So, but only time will tell, right? So in the meantime, guess what we're gonna do? We're just gonna set and forget on this trade and you know, we've accepted our risk. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not tripping if we take a loss. And if we do, you know, it just, God didn't want us to win on this trade, and we didn't need it. It's fine. But that's the beauty of trading, and it's exactly what you just have to go through, you know. So we will continue to set and forget, and just ride the wave for this. Let's take a look at all of our other pairs. AUD CAD would have lost on it as well. Remember, I was telling you that I saw a possible left head, right shoulder. What do you see? Price confirmed our left head, right shoulder. Price is now, this is going to be a trade for next week. Okay, gonna come up and retest here to our neckline to then sell to the downside some more. Because now if we look on the weekly, we should be bearish on it as well. Yep. Now the weekly time frame's bearish because we broke this low. So this is going to be a beautiful trade setup for next week. Then GBP NZD, yep, GBP NZD, it is still consolidating. It's not doing anything, so I'm not even worried about it. I'm not even looking at it, and we'll reassess for next week. But as of right now, that's what's been playing out. That's how the week's gone so far. Oh, I completely forgot. So I remember I was going to tell you guys that I am a little more down this week than just the $40 we lost on our trade. So we take a look at my trade history, right? I am down a total of $120 this week. Why? Because when I was out doing DoorDash and stuff like that, NZD was blowing up. NZD USD was blowing up, and I was like, oh my god, let me enter this. So I entered, but it took me 30 minutes to realize I entered on the wrong pair. I entered on USD CAD, so you can see we took a $82 loss. This is the first loss we took. Why can't I pull this up? There we go. So this is the, if you look at, this is USD CAD from last week. USD Chef, this is when I got stopped out. So I took, the first position was an $83 win right here. And then the extra 1% that we added, this is the loss. That would be a $40 loss. Then when I entered, when I thought I entered on NZD USD, I actually entered on USD CAD. So I had to close this position on where it was at. I entered on sell on USD CAD, and as you can tell, USD CAD, let me find it first, is completely bullish. So that's what ended up happening on that. And so yeah, so we took an extra $80 loss when we didn't have to. This is the account balance now. We were at 12,100 and something, 153, I think that's what it was before I took that loss. So now it is what it is. No, I'm not tripping. We'll get it back. But rookie mistake. So, but in the meantime, y'all, if you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up on it, and comment and subscribe so we can start growing a community. And yeah, y'all, I just want to say thank you so much for 100 subs, and I can't wait to see you guys either when this trade fully plays out or on Saturday or Sunday. So always remember that I love you, God loves you, and I will see you guys in the next video.